Welcome back. We're going to have a little bit of fun on the lumber mill today, and I'm going to have a partner. So Danielle has never run the mill before, so I'm going to teach her today. And are you going to have fun? She's not real excited about this, but it helps me tremendously, so we'll see how she does.
So I've helped him with about every other aspect of this job, but I've never actually run the mill. And it's not hard to do, but it's very intimidating, at least for me, because I'm not crazy over power tools anyway. And probably the most difficult part is it's very fickle. I mean, you have to get the speed just right, depending on the density of the wood, and then learning how to set the blade is a little bit challenging, but there might be hope for me to figure it out. I'll just stick with horses most of the time, I think.
I think she did a good job. She didn't hit the bed rail. That's the worst thing when you run that blade into one of those big metal uprights or the left side, the clamps.
You speak from experience?
I've done that before.
I bet that's hard on a blade.
Yeah, well, you pretty much ruin the blade. That's for sure, but let's show them our... These are rough cut, but they're about 1 5/8 and they're 6.5 wide. We're gonna do fence rails with these. Here, there's a red oak fence rails. Milling lumber is more about just cutting the log on the lumber mill. It has a lot to do with organizing your work before and after the cut. So before the cut, we have a lot of different species, we have a lot of different lengths and a lot of different diameters of log. And so they can all have a different purpose. As you can see here, we have some white oak, we have some red oak, we have some hickory, and we have a kitty cat. But when I look at each log, based on the length and the diameter, I can determine what I'm going to use it for. Red oak I like to use for structural lumber, and if it's nice and thick, I can get 2x6s, 2x10s, even 2x12s out of it. If it's a skinnier log, I may even use it just for a post like this one, because anything below 12 inches, I really don't get much out of it, so it's good to make beams out of that. Now, once I determine what it's for, Danielle comes up with a cut sheet for me, and she says, okay, we need this many for fence rails, we need this many for the siding or whatnot. So after I cut it, I put it in stacks based on what type of wood it is, how thick it is, how long it is, and what the project is. If you look at the stack right over here, Danielle wants some fence posts. Fence rails, and so I'm cutting these all about 6 1/4 by 1.5 1 5/8 actually, and 8 feet long. And so this stack, she tells me how many she needs, and I count up. It's going to be about this tall when it's complete, and then that is one single project complete. Here we have a 17.5 foot long hickory log. It's about 3,400 pounds. Danielle and I put it up here by ourselves, believe it or not. She's pretty tough. In a sense, this is going to be our countertops. The reason it's so long is because I'm trying to cut some countertops for the kitchen at just over 17 feet, and I want one continuous run. I don't want to have seams in there. So we'll see what I can do with this. I'm just a few cuts into this log, and I'm doing this one a little bit differently because of the size. It's really hard for me to handle. I don't have any heavy equipment to turn it, so I'm just going to slab it out, and then I'll take each individual slab and put it back on and cut the live edge off of it in order to have countertop material. But so far it's cutting okay. Hickory is extremely hard and it's extremely tough on the blades. I told Danielle I'm going to go through one whole blade just with this log, but I actually may switch out because 2 blades will cost me about $60, but you know, there's a huge difference in how you end up with a finished product at the end, because you've got a lot of what's called scalloping on here when the blade gets dull. And if I switch out blades, I can prevent some of that, which makes my planing at the very end a lot less. So at 6 1/2 dozen the other, it might be worth the money to go ahead and use 2 blades to get through this log, because hickory is unbelievably hard. Now that that sun's getting lower, I'm going to give you an idea of what that scalloping looks like. As you can see here, that's where the blade is struggling to get through, and you get some texture there, and then past that it smooths out, and then it gets to another hard spot. Sometimes when you hit a knot it gets that way, but that all has to be planed out and smoothed out. There's a spot there that's got some, and one right there that's got quite a bit. So a good sharp blade can reduce that, but at about 30 bucks a blade, you can't switch out every pass. One issue I found inside the log is a split. It sometimes happen, and you can see it here. So it's going to take out a good portion of this end of that, but as I cut down the slabs, that crack is eventually going to stop. Otherwise, I've got good character in the wood here, no major voids. It's going to be great coloration in there, but I do think I'm going to switch out the blade because it's really struggling to get through there. And I can use this blade again. I'll just use it on a softer wood like tulip, yellow poplar that is. It's much softer wood and these blades will go through that, but I really want to keep a sharp blade to keep a smooth surface and good character in the wood, make my finished product a little bit easier to work with. Well, another hard day of work. It's been wonderful, and we're a little bit closer to the finished product. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for subscribing and leaving comments for those who do. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. We'd like to see you join us on our journey.